Could Max Verstappen really join Mercedes in 2026? That's the question we're all asking ourselves. Yesterday, I was in Imola, Italy, a guest of Racing Bulls, which, as you know, is part of the same family, and I asked some very knowledgeable Racing Bulls members for some very important information. Racing Bulls, who had a filming day with Lawson and Hadjar, did so, but the really strange thing is that Max Verstappen was spotted in Sardinia a few days ago at the same time as Toto Wolff, and someone even tracked the flight movements of his private jet to try to determine whether there really was a meeting between him and the Mercedes boss. Obviously, Verstappen and Toto Wolff are talking, and neither has denied that they're negotiating for next year, but the success of the deal depends on a series of very important factors. As you know, Christian Horner is no longer Red Bull's team principal, and many people have been asking themselves a question. Was Christian Horner fired from Red Bull to ensure Max Verstappen would stay, or was he fired when someone found out Verstappen was leaving anyway? I think it's impossible to answer this question precisely. I asked the Racing Bulls mechanics about this, and they told me that he'll stay at Red Bull and go to Mercedes 50-50. Someone told me he might even stay at Red Bull in 2026 and then leave in 2027. Obviously, it will depend on Red Bull's competitiveness. Max Verstappen wants to win many more world championships and isn't satisfied with finishing second or third. His goal is to break Lewis Hamilton and Schumacher's records, even though he says in interviews that he's not interested. The truth is, he really wants to break those records. Now, if Max Verstappen were to leave, Red Bull would collapse because we know very well that Max is the strongest driver in the world. Without Max Verstappen, Red Bull would risk finishing 7th and 8th in every race, so Red Bull must do everything to hold on to him. Obviously, no one knows how strong Mercedes will be next year, but rumors say that the Mercedes power unit is the most powerful and that the Red Bull powertrains are struggling. This is yet another reason that would push Max Verstappen to leave and take on a new challenge with Mercedes. If he went to Mercedes, George Russell would probably give him his seat. Kimi Antonelli would certainly stay at Mercedes because he's a young driver who still has a lot, perhaps too much, to learn. And he grew up in the Mercedes Academy. Toto Wolff is fond of Kimi Antonelli. As Verstappen's teammate, Kimi Antonelli could grow and copy his driving style, although it's not a given that these two drivers have the same characteristics. Meanwhile, we know that Max Verstappen is unlikely to win the 2025 F1 World Championship, given that he's more than 60 points behind McLaren, both due to his own fault and that of Kimi Antonelli, who hit him in Austria. Furthermore, Verstappen's spin after the Silverstone safety car was unwelcome. It cost him even more positions. Obviously, it's interesting to know whether Verstappen and Russell could be good teammates. Let's be honest, they're not friends. They've argued often, both in Baku a few years ago and in Barcelona when Verstappen hit Russell's car. And the truth is, your teammate is your number one enemy. Max Verstappen certainly won't be joining Mercedes to be a good guy. He'll do everything he can to beat Kimi Antonelli and win his 5th World Championship. Everything will depend on the new regulations and how strong Mercedes is. Toto Wolff certainly told Verstappen that the car will be very strong. Toto Wolff is trying to bring Verstappen to the team as early as 2024 because he believes he's the strongest driver in F1 and all the team principals would like him. Obviously, money isn't an issue. Mercedes has unlimited funds, so Verstappen would only go to Brackley for a stronger car, certainly not for the money. The important thing is that next year there will be great battles for the good of Formula One and all the fans around the world.